Hello friends, I am Welshie and welcome to Theory Pop. In today's video we will be talking about the upcoming Season 2 of The Dragon Prince, and in particular I'll be examining this image of a Sunfire elf. So settle in, get comfy, and let's begin! The release date for Season 2 of The Dragon Prince was announced on the 12th of January. While the team behind the series were hosting a panel at Anime LA, the official Dragon Prince Twitter account tweeted out an image featuring Ezran, Callum, Rayla, Bait and Ozymandias riding on the back of Liu Jane's Moon Phoenix. The image included the upcoming release date for Chapter 2, which will launch on Friday the 15th of February. That's only a few weeks away! After this first image was released, a second picture from Season 2 began floating around on social media, showing a Sunfire elf with a Sunforged blade. This was initially reported to be from the trailer for Season 2, although the trailer has yet to be released, at least at the time of recording this video. The Dragon Prince Twitter account tweeted out a high-res version of the image, at the same time revealing that this elf is a Sunfire Knight. It's always nice to see new characters being introduced, and this warrior looks awesome. But what is a Sunfire Knight, and what can we learn from this image? First, let's try to establish what a knight is. In Europe during the Middle Ages, knights typically served a sovereign or lord as an armoured mounted soldier, though they could also be granted the title of knight by religious leaders. The idea of a chivalric code of conduct became associated with knights by the late Middle Ages, which included the ideals of protecting the weak, defending your country and its people, and remaining faithful to any pledged oaths. Historically speaking, the chivalric code was more of a poetic ideal than a living institution, but knightly orders as military organisations did exist, such as the Knights Templar. When looking at examples of knights within fiction, the spectrum of behaviour becomes incredibly broad. Arguably, one of the most famous examples of a chivalrous order of knights is King Arthur's Knights of the Round Table, often held up as the prime example of chivalrous ideals. Comic and animated adaptations of the Arthurian legend, such as Prince Valiant, present knights as paragons of virtue, defenders of justice and protectors of all that is good. On the other side of things, you've got examples like Game of Thrones, where being a knight does not necessarily mean you uphold that particular code of conduct. Gregor Clegane, aka The Mountain, may be a knight, but he is also brutal and quick to anger. However, the poetic image of the ideal knight, defender of the weak and paragons of honour and virtue, exists even within Westeros. There are countless other examples. The paladins of Dungeons & Dragons, the Bretonnians of Warhammer, Shovel Knight from, Shovel Knight. There's plenty of characters and groups inspired by the historical paradigm of the knight, so it's no surprise that the Dragon Prince would introduce an equivalent order for the elves. The image we have of the Sunfire Knights certainly would suggest that their order fulfills some form of military role, what with the armour and incredibly cool looking Sunforged blade. Seriously, that weapon looks awesome! But what can we learn from this knight's equipment? Can we determine which lord or sovereign they may serve? The obvious answer would be that the Sunfire Knights serve the Archdragon of the Sun that appears in the opening sequence of Season 1, since they and Sunfire Elves are likely tied to the same source of primal magic. This particular order of knights may have been granted the title of knighthood or inducted into service by the Archdragon themselves. There is some evidence to back this theory up, even from this single still image. First, the headdress this knight is wearing bears a striking resemblance to the horns or frills of the Sun Dragon, a clear visual link to the Drake. Secondly, the armour worn by the knight appears to be scale mail. Scale armour is made of small plates of metal attached to a backing of cloth or leather, arranged in overlapping rows. This gave the armour the appearance of fish or lizard scales. In the case of the Sunfire Knight's armour, it may be intended to mimic the visual aspect of dragon scales. It's interesting to note that real examples of scale mail provided better protection from blunt and piercing attacks when compared with chainmail, but was less flexible. This could suggest that the Sunfire Knights rely more upon their strength and resilience during combat, as opposed to Moonshadow elves that utilise stealth and dexterity over raw power. There's also the possibility that the smiths that forged the armour were able to overcome the inflexibility inherent in the design of scale mail. We have seen examples of talented artisans and crafters among the elves. Sunfire elves count proficient blacksmiths among their number, crafters capable of creating Sunforged blades, weapons that retain the heat of the forge for hundreds of years after they were made. it's not unreasonable to imagine that artisans capable of creating such impressive relics could develop new and improved forms of smithing to create strong but flexible materials to mitigate the issue of flexibility, and allow Sunfire Knights to move quite freely while wearing the armour. As to this knight's location, the lava flow in the background is a good clue. In Season 1 we got some great glimpses of the Breach, the huge river of lava that divides the continent and separates Xadia from the human kingdoms. We know that General Amaya is the commander of the Standing Battalion, the garrison on the human side of the border. If the molten flow of lava in the background of this image does place the Sunfire Knight on the Xadia side of the Breach, we may be looking at Amaya's elven counterpart, the commander of the Sunfire Knight garrison. This could also mean that we'll see the protagonists arrive at the border with Xadia sometime during Season 2, assuming that the image isn't either a flashback or a scene from Claudia and Soren's journey following the princes of Catullus. It's exciting to think about what we could see revealed in Season 2. I absolutely loved the glimpses we got of the Dragon Prince's fantasy world in Season 1, and I'm eager to see where the series will go in Season 2. I'm hoping for more lore reveals, and perhaps a bit more history to give us more context and higher stakes for future storylines. As you can probably tell, since I've just spent the bulk of this video overanalyzing a single still image from the new season. But what do you think? Is this Sunfire Knight in service to the Archdragon of the Sun? What would you like to see revealed in Season 2? Let me know in the comments below. This has been Theory Pop, thanks for watching. Hey friends, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed this Dragon Prince theory. If you'd like to see another great theory, click one of the videos over on the left. If you want to keep up to date with my latest theories, click subscribe and tap the bell to be notified of new uploads, and I'll see you later.